Yeah, I'm thinking I'm back for a fourth time. Welcome back to the only channel that talks about movies. I'm Timbo, and today we're talking about the movie John Wick 4. And before we take a shot at this review, make sure you're liking this video, make sure you're subscribing to the channel, and I'm going to be streaming every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So also, hit that notification bell because then you'll know when I'm live or when I upload a video. Do it now, and you just might see your family again. So John Wick 4 is the fourth installment in this epic series that follows our dog-loving husband, John Wick, played by the lovely Keanu Reeves, as he again fights his battle against the High Table and their set of codes against him, while also dealing with the looming bounty that's attached to his head. Now, I'm going to say something before we go into this review that might shock you coming from somebody who reviews movies, but I actually haven't seen any of the John Wick movies up until last year. I know, that is very shocking. However, I had a lot of stuff going on back then. I was dealing with college, I was working, I had anxiety, depression, same old, same old. So when I finally sat down to watch these movies, I had some pretty high expectations just because everyone around me loves these movies. So yeah, I had some high expectations for the Baba Yaga. But after watching these movies, everyone was right. This is the definitive action series that I believe should set a standard for any action movie that comes out after it. I mean, it literally changed my perspective on how I think action movies should look and feel like. From action scenes feeling like a real battle between people that doesn't feel like two men having cheat codes unlocked just to have unlimited HP and ammo, to how Keanu holds his own with each weapon he uses, and he always feels like he's just one step ahead of every enemy that he faces. And then holding up these action scenes, you have this beautiful underworld of assassins and hitmen that all follow this code, and it feels just like something that you would only see out of an anime. And I have to say, the second John Wick movie is easily my favorite one just because of this scene. I am a John Wick stan, and I am just blown away that I let these movies slide by me all this time. I'm sorry. So now, after seeing all these movies, what do I think about John Wick 4? John Wick 4, at a whopping 2 hours and 49 minutes, delivered an action-packed movie that said little to no words and just let the fighting and tension from the previous films just do all the talking for it. In the movie, I think John Wick says maybe 8 or 9 lines, and I'm pretty sure two of the lines is either him going, "Yeah," or one of the characters in the movie's name, he'll be like, "Jane." And that's all. We obviously get new characters in this movie that deserve some exposition just to learn who they are. But most of their backgrounds are actually just pretty simple. Like Shamir Anderson's character, Tracker, or as he calls himself, Nobody. His character is able to tell a story just through the gear he uses and his canine companion. Speaking of canines, I love that this franchise is just built around dogs and the love that they have for humans and how they are man's best friend. There's movies out there that definitely pay respect to the doggo, but John Wick will literally kill an entire mob family just for his dog. John Wick 4 also had, I think, the best supporting cast out of all of the movies. Just to list them off, you have Clancy Brown, Scott Adkins, Donnie Yen, Bill Skarsgård, Hiroyuki Sanada. And that is just some of the new characters. Just some of the new characters that are in this movie. Donnie Yen, again, just kills it as a blind man that knows, some kind of martial arts. Scott Adkins is just he's able to play these characters and just masterfully play a skilled fighter doing it. And Hiroyuki Sanada is just so cool, and every movie he's in just makes me excited to see what kind of fight he's going to be in. I mean, the man is Scorpion after all.
Get over here!
The final act of this movie sees John Wick having to survive a night on the Paris streets and get to this church before sunrise. But this leads him to fighting multiple assassins, hitmen, and gangs across the city as the main villain attempts to just kill him just for the high table. This act also had some great camera work, and one scene in particular, which is it was probably the best part of the movie. At least my favorite shot in the movie. It has like an overhead breakdown of this abandoned home where like John is fighting these goons. It felt like I was like watching like a Halo 2 multiplayer match. Like I stepped back after the match and was just like rewatching how I did, and you can just see like Keanu preparing to fight. You see the goons preparing to fight. Sick shot. It was so cool. By the end of this movie, this is probably my only complaint about the movie is I just felt like for how grand and expansive it was on all of its fights. I really felt like the ending just kind of dropped. I mean, you had 2 hours, you almost had 3 hours to really plan this ending. I think there may have been one or too many fights happening. Or maybe you could have shortened one of the fights. I just think it would have been so much better to have like a more like clean land instead of just a complete drop. Again, that's my only complaint about this movie. And from what I read, it seems like this is going to be like the stopping point for Keanu for a little while. So I'm really interested to see what they're going to do with this series. I know they have announced like spinoffs. They had like a TV series, I think called like The Continental. So I mean, this universe is so expansive. They could do so much with this. You could go back to like the origins of the high table. You could see like the overturning of the high table. There's just so many different stories and characters within this world that you could make a movie on. But whatever they do, I will follow and probably support it as long as Keanu Reeves is supporting and backing this project. Because this series would be nothing without him. Now let me turn the table over to you. Tell me what your thoughts were on John Wick 4. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't yet, you need to subscribe. And then you need to check out my last video right here where I talked about Scream 6. And as always, I'm Timbo, and I just talked about that. Peace.